Now we're going to talk about Hitler and how he rose to power after World War One. So, after World War One, we are going to see the creation of a democratic government in Germany known as the Weimar Republic. They will be led by a chancellor, which is a fancy way to say prime minister. There will also be a president, which we'll talk about a little later. Now, life isn't easy for Germany after World War One. We've talked at length about all the harsh conditions of the Treaty of Versailles. And so all of that is really going to hurt the country, as well as there's not really a strong leader. They have to pay all these reparation payments, and we're going to see a lot of unemployment and an inability to pay off their war debt. And so the German government's solution is to print more money. However, the more money there is in circulation, the less it's worth, which is what inflation is. So for example, in 1922, let's say a new desk cost you 100 marks, which is their money, marks, not dollars. A year later, in 1923, that same desk would have cost you 944,000 marks. So everyone's money was worthless. People are starving, they're hopeless. But in 1924, things are going to turn around. And for about 5 years, we have economic recovery. People are enjoying the new government. People are doing well. However, in 1929, the Great Depression is going to strike, giving Hitler the conditions he needs to gain support for his political party. Speaking of Hitler, he is born in 1889 in Austria, not in Germany. And he is going to fight with the German army, though, during World War One. In 1919, after the war, he joins a group of right-wing extremists known as, you got it, the Nazis. He quickly rises to be the leader, and he's going to organize his supporters into fighting squads called stormtroopers. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you know this reference. But stormtroopers are what Hitler calls his supporters. This is a picture of Hitler's stormtroopers. These are pictures of the Empire's stormtroopers. There's a lot of parallels between Nazi Germany and the Empire in Star Wars. You might have picked up on that before, but if not, next time you watch, make sure to think about this. So, Hitler's rise to power. Hitler is going to promise a strong government, and he believes that the Weimar Republic is weak. Something that all politicians know is that if people hate something, you should get rid of it. And so he's going to promise to get rid of the Treaty of Versailles. He's also going to use a lot of propaganda to convince people that all the politicians who worked in the Weimar Republic had stabbed Germany in the back by signing the Treaty of Versailles. So he's placing the blame for the Treaty of Versailles onto the current government. Now, Hitler is going to appeal to all social classes in Germany. He's going to appeal to the Junkers, or the aristocrats, because they were afraid of communism. He's going to appeal to the middle class because they wanted law and order, and also they feared communism. He'll appeal to the working class because he's promising jobs, and he's going to appeal to the church because the church hated that communists were atheists, and so they didn't want the communists to come to power. So at this time, a lot of different groups are trying to gain power, including a communist party in Germany. However, Hitler is the preferred choice for many because people see what's going on in the Soviet Union and don't want anything to do with that. So Hitler is going to try to gain power in 1923. He's going to launch a coup, a takeover in Munich, and it will fail, and he'll be arrested. However, he's going to gain publicity through this, and in prison, he's going to write a book called Mein Kampf, which stands for My Struggle. Now, between 1924 and 1928, even though things were going good for Germany, Hitler is going to use this time to reorganize the Nazi Party. He is going to start spreading propaganda about the Nazis with the help of a man named Joseph Goebbels. We're going to talk about him a little bit more later. However, in the election of 1928, the Nazi Party is only going to win 10 seats in their legislature, so like in their Congress. Remember, things are pretty good for Germans currently, so they're not super eager to overthrow their government for this right-wing extreme group. However, in 1929, after the Worldwide Depression hits, Hitler begins holding large rallies, and in 1932, he's going to run for president and lose. He will not be elected president, However, he's very popular, and his political party wins a lot of seats in the legislature. Now, the German politicians at the time really don't think Hitler's that great. They don't like him, but they are a little afraid of him, and they decide the best way to control him is to invite him into the government. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, kind of thing. And so the German president is persuaded to appoint Hitler chancellor. And on January 30th, 1933, Hitler becomes Chancellor of Germany. Here's a newspaper article proclaiming that, and here he is giving the side eye to the German president. This is important. Just like Mussolini, Hitler is appointed to power legally. He did not take power, he gets it in a legal way. Now, the president is going to die, and Hitler is going to then take all the power. And he establishes what he calls the Third Reich. And that is what the name we used to call Hitler-controlled Germany. And he has a strong belief that the German master race is going to dominate Europe for 1,000 years. He's going to get about 10. But it's a great goal. It's important to set goals. And so he goes about trying to reach this goal of the wonderful Third Reich by first establishing a large public works program, much like the New Deal. So putting people to work building roads and vehicles and factories and all these things. He also begins to rearm Germany, so build up the army, which is strictly forbidden by the Treaty of Versailles. And he wants to reunite Germany and Austria into the empire it once was, which is also against the Treaty of Versailles. So these are his goals. Before he can reach those goals, though, he has to make Germany a totalitarian state. He wants total control. He does this a number of ways. He has a group of secret police called the Gestapo. And in 1935, he's going to pass the Nuremberg Laws, which are going to deprive Jews of German citizenship. The laws also prohibit Jews from marrying non-Jews, prohibits them from attending or teaching in German schools, prohibits Jews from holding government jobs, prohibits Jews from practicing law or medicine, and it prohibits them from publishing books. Already we see his hatred of Jews coming into focus. However, it's not going to get extreme yet. However, in November of 1938, we have what is known as Kristallnacht. You might have heard about this before in middle school. Kristallnacht stands for the Night of Broken Glass. When Nazis attacked Jewish communities. We're going to see people's homes destroyed, people's businesses destroyed, people murdered in the streets. It's a horrific event that is really going to kind of be the beginning of the end for the Jewish population in Germany. We're soon going to see people being shipped off to concentration camps and so forth. We'll talk about that in our next unit. He also exercises total control through youth organizations known as the Nazi Youth, where children were expected to pledge absolute loyalty to Hitler, as well as participate in physical fitness programs to prepare them for the army. Women had their roles limited in the house. Much like Mussolini, there were also rewards for having a lot of children, but only if you were part of the German master race, so the blonde-haired, blue-eyes women. He's also going to control religious institutions. He doesn't like them. He doesn't like Catholics. He combines all the Protestant churches into one, but he really believes that your only religion should be love of Germany. Here are some pictures of Kristallnacht. We have the window shoved in and just people walking by, ignoring it, though this guy seems very saddened by it. Here's another, the whole street, the whole Jewish section of the city destroyed. And here we have a synagogue, which is the Jewish place of worship, being lit on fire. So, in conclusion, all of these men that we learned about today were rulers of a totalitarian state, which is defined as a one-party dictatorship that regulates every aspect of the lives of its citizens. Things that made these three places totalitarian states include: 1, there was a single-party dictatorship with blind obedience to a single leader. There was also state control of the economy. All three men used police, spies, and terror to control their population. There was government control of the media to indoctrinate and mobilize citizens through propaganda. All three men used schools and youth organizations to spread their ideology, so what they believed, to the children of the nation. And finally, there was strict censorship of artists and intellectuals with dissenting opinions. So anyone who disagreed with these three men, they were censored and probably destroyed. So I hope you've enjoyed learning about the road to war and the rise of these three totalitarian dictators. Make sure to finish your notes, go back, rewind if you need to, and I will see you tomorrow.